Hello, everybody. We're back for another episode of Utah Homes HQ Live. And, it's really popular, BJ, for real estate agents to do a lot of videos about the top things to do in their prospective markets. A lot of them do gotcha videos of reasons not to live here and stay out of Ogden.
My favorite ones. Top 5 reasons to never come to Ogden. 1, you hate being happy. 2, you love her. Yeah, you know what I mean. Anyway.
Well, and I don't know that we're going to do those. If we do, we're going to mock the idea of trying to highlight reasons to not come into an area, but yet I don't understand it. But anyways. So, Ogden is world-renowned for outdoor living, and we're going to talk about a few other things as well that people may not know. So, for people that aren't familiar with Ogden, we're going to kind of give you from our chair tour of Ogden, things that we love about Ogden. I think we'll do a few more. This isn't to cover everything about our town. To reiterate, we work right here in downtown Ogden. We're in the heart of the city.
In an historic building on 24th Street, which is a lot of fun.
It's so fun, especially with all the ghosts.
Haunted.
Yeah.
For sure. There's no doubt about it.
And you can't hire the ghosts to do anything. They've got all eternity. They're doing nothing.
Why would you?
No help.
If you were a ghost, why would you work? I mean, I guess if you...
They can't dial phone numbers, that's true.
There is that one lady that goes around and checks to make sure doors are locked and things like that. That's a ghost. She's still working, but...
I'm sure everyone appreciates
We'll talk about her on another episode.
Yeah, that's another episode. We'll bring that up in Halloween. So, anyway, let's bring this up right over here. So... Ogden, and we'll have all these links to all of these things in the comments, but Ogden has a page called visitogden.com. I don't know where they came up with that URL, but it outlines a lot of these things that we're going to discuss. So I'm going to take one, and then BJ, you're going to take one, and we'll educate people on some of the great things to do in the Ogden area. Now, we're recording this at the tail end of the most epic winter you or I have ever seen in the state of Utah. And it's all starting to melt and come down the mountains right now. But of course, Utah, known for skiing. And Ogden is no stranger to that. We have multiple ski resorts. So let's hit on a couple of these. Up in Ogden Valley, we have a really cute, fun little ski resort called Nordic Valley. Now, to keep this brief, we're just going to touch on a few bullet points because I could yammer on really about anything. BJ knows that.
Jake is a bona fide ski bum.
I am, and I look forward to that as long as the knees and hips can keep working. But so Nordic Valley is a cute little community ski resort. We would consider it kind of a learning hill. If you've never skied before, this is the place I'm going to tell you to go. And get a lesson. I don't teach anybody nothing about skiing. That's a personal endeavor.
They have that fun tubing run, too. That's kind of fun to do.
They do. It's just cute as a button. It's cheap. They've expanded it a little bit. They'll continue to expand it.
And they still do night skiing, right?
They do. They do.
How much... What's a night ski pass? Because that's the cheapest way to get on the slopes.
Night skiing is the cheapest pass, so they go from 3 to 8 p.m., which for a novice is perfect. That's more skiing than you can physically do.
Right.
I want to say it's in the neighborhood of $20 to $30, depending on the age.
Which is great. I mean, that's got to be the most affordable lift pass in
Hands
the
down.
State, right?
Now, this is assuming that the lifts are actually functioning.
Right, that's true.
It is an older ski resort, and so you should not expect all of the world-class amenities. But it's fun. We've had some great family times there, especially, as you said, the night skiing. It's just a cute little place. So you're going to want to check that out. And certainly for beginners, this is where you want to go. Across the valley, from Nordic Valley, we have Powder Mountain. Powder Mountain is one of the biggest, as you'll see right here. It's almost 8,500 skiable acres. It's absolutely massive. I believe Powder Mountain was started 60 years ago by a dentist and his family. It's really woven itself into the fabric of Ogden. It's a local ski resort. It is not fancy. It traded hands a few years ago. We'll leave that topic off because it gets a little heated with a lot of people with who currently owns it. But it is one of my favorite ski resorts. I did not ski. I did not grow up skiing. My parents were not ambitious for outdoor activities. So I was 24 years old, almost 25 when I first went skiing. And my wife and friends took me to Powder Mountain. And let me give you my ski lesson. This is the ski lesson I was given. Do it. Just go. just do it. You're skiing now.
You'll figure it out on the way down
It took
as you're
me
rolling down the hill. Good.
2.5 hours to get to the bottom of the first hill. I had never skied. I had no idea. And you would assume, when given such profound directions like do it, that I would have picked it up quicker. I was scared to death. It hurt. But I will tell you, I did figure it out, and I didn't want to leave at the end of the day. So Powder Mountain has a very special place in my heart. Again, it doesn't have all the amenities.
Yeah.
The lifts are slow. They've got one high-speed quad. I think that is a mistake. They limit the number of daily passes and season passes. So when that place is sold out, place is still empty.
Yeah.
When you've got 8,500 skiable acres. It is a neat place. Word of caution, I always take the fatherly role with everyone I meet up on the lifts that has visited for the first time from wherever they're from. That road is dangerous.
Very.
And do not break your way down that highway. It is a downshifting approach. It'll melt brakes, and you always know that someone in front of you doesn't know what they're doing because their wheels are on fire. It is treacherous, but it's beautiful, it's peaceful, it's small, and the best wings I've ever had in my life, Powder Mountain and the Powder Keg.
Yeah.
Hands down. No one's even come close. Really good food up there, but great environment, I could go on and on. But moving on.
Great rec center, too, at the condominium complex, where we've spent many a night shooting hoops and
There's only so much we can discuss when it comes to, we've had many
nightly swim challenges.
guy getaways. So Powder Mountain actually has lodging at the ski resort. The next ski resort that I'm going to talk about, which is far more well known, does not have lodging yet. But Powder Mountain has a whole village at the top. Powder Mountain is notoriously difficult for real estate development because it sits at about 9,000 square feet. But in the 80s, they built this little ski village with condos and one of the coolest clubhouses ever.
Yeah.
Huge swimming pool.
It's huge.
Multiple hot tubs. Basketball court. Ping pong.
With
pool.
a carpeted floor on the basketball court. Yeah. It is like it's stepping into the 70s when you go in that place.
Big time. It is really
It's like
fun.
the movie Hot Tub Time Machine in
It's
a lot
true.
of ways
It's true.
when they go back in time, if you've seen it.
Put that on your watch list if you haven't seen it.
It's a fun place, though.
On the other side of Ogden Valley, though, we have Snow Basin Ski Resort, sister ski resort to Sun Valley, owned by the Holding family, which famously owned Sinclair, I believe. And
Yeah.
I don't know if they still do. So, Snow Basin, I'll be honest, I've skied it. I have a season pass there now. It was home to the Olympics, to some of those races.
Was it some of the downhill races?
Yep, the Super G
Okay.
races were there in 2002. I've skied those runs. They are so much fun. Snow Basin was kind of falling off my favorite list just because I'd been skiing there so much. But our last few winters have not been very good.
Yeah.
But this year, Snow
Yeah,
Basin.
it's lower, right? Powder Mountain's at 9,000 feet. What's Snow Basin's like?
So I think Powder Mountain kind of peaks at 9,000, whereas Snow Basin is higher. It gets up to about 96.
Oh, okay.
At the start of the Super G. I think it's about 94, 96. I should know this. I have a placard for that run in my basement. Fantastic ski resort. It's a lot easier to get to than our Salt Lake counterparts in the Cottonwood Canyons. It is a member of the Icon Pass. Back to Powder Mountain, they do not do group pass access to Icon, Epic. I think there's some others. They don't need to. Because where they've only capped their daily tickets, they just don't need to expand. Snow Basin is fantastic, though. High-speed lifts. They're adding another one. They've got 2 gondolas. The views are great. The skiing this year has been wonderful. Great food service and lodges, but you can't stay there right now. Snow Basin owns so much acreage around the ski resort. They were going to bring in Club Med. That deal fell apart. I think there still is some real estate development that is going to take place up there.
Probably only a matter of time, because
Probably.
it is such a nice resort with modern, awesome lodges and great food and stuff. It's a cool
It really
setting.
is. It really is. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll post this video before, but this weekend I'll be participating in the pond skim at Snow Basin. I'll have my son produce a bit of a video about that, and I'll humiliate myself for everyone to see. But Snow Basin is fantastic. World-class skiing in Ogden. A lot of people will even do backcountry skiing. I know people will go up the top of Ben Lomond and ski down. It's a little out of my pay grade, but yeah, you can't beat it. It's an absolute treasure. I live in East Layton. I can beat a Snow Basin in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I look at Snow Basin from my daughter's bedroom window. It's just an absolute gem to have in our community. So those are a couple of ski things to do in Ogden.
Does your daughter say, "Dad, get out of my room. Stop looking at the ski resort again"?
I really should trade rooms with her. I don't get to see Snow Basin out of my bedroom. Okay, so coming out of Ogden Valley, though, BJ, introduce us a little bit to, I think a lot of people know about 25th Street, but not everything that they should.
Yeah, and I think this is, in conjunction with skiing, right? If you're visiting from out of town, it's a lot of fun. Be up at the resort all day and then come back down to downtown Ogden. There's several nice hotels right downtown. You've got the Hampton Inn, there's the Hilton Garden Inn, there's the new one on 24th that's 2 hotels, all within walking distance of all these great restaurants and bars. There's a comedy club. There's the ballpark. There's a minor league baseball team here within walking distance. So it's really a great setup. And I recently, for my anniversary, we did a staycation right here in Ogden, stayed in a hotel, went to 25th Street, had a great meal, spent some time at a bar afterwards listening to live music. And my brother and his wife came along, and they live in Davis County, and it's really only the third time they've been kind of downtown and said, "This is so awesome. We feel like we're on vacation." And I think you can capture that. You can have a night out that feels like you're on vacation. You can get great food. One of the best sushi restaurants in the state of Utah is right here on 25th Street.
Which you have to show up before they open.
Yeah.
They don't take reservations. It's not large. And they have a huge following. So if you want to get a table when they open up for dinner, because they close, don't they open for lunch? Am I wrong on that?
I've never been there at lunch. I don't know, actually. That's a good question.
They might, but when you show up for dinner, I think they open at 4:30. There's always a line every time I've been.
Yeah, and it is really good. There's other great restaurants. There's a very high-end Italian restaurant, Stella's, and then just a lot of great places, to grab a burger.
Lots of great shops. There's a nonprofit there on 25th Street that I've given thousands of dollars to called Lavender Vinyl. I don't think they're making any money off of all the records that I buy. I'll have to ask them. Anyway,
I'm sure.
It's interesting. We should in the comments we should drop a few links to our past podcasts.
Yeah.
With emphasis on 25th Street, because there's quite a few of them. The history of Ogden is so rich. For the West?
Yeah, it really is. And I think that's part of the fun of 25th Street is you do have a lot of original buildings, and the buildings that have been redone fit the aesthetic. They have the brick storefront, and it feels like you've gone back in time a little bit and knowing some of the history. Some of it is lore that is not all true, but that's part of the fun too. The whole speakeasy and secret tunnels and all of that, when in reality it was much more out in the open. It was a lot easier to just pay off a few cops than build a bunch of tunnels. But that is part of the history. It is fascinating, and 25th Street is definitely a must-see if you're spending time in Ogden.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Which BJ and I grew up here in northern Utah. As a kid, I grew up not all that far. 25th Street was not a destination.
No. It was, it was actually really important to avoid 25th Street.
It was just rough. It wasn't there was not a lot of investment into it. And that has completely shifted, and I'm so proud of the area for doing that, because what a loss that would have been.
Yeah.
If this just fell apart. So as you can see on the screen at the end, there's an old train station. You got to take a tour. It's fantastic to go through there. And
Also haunted.
Completely haunted. And they don't even charge extra for that.
Right.
But if you love history, the expansion of the West, you could get lost for hours and hours and hours out here.
Yeah.
And it truly is more time machine stuff. You can really step back into the past by visiting the 25th Street. Okay, so let's talk. I picked the Ogden Nature Center. And the reason I did is because I've been able to spend a fair amount of time here at the Ogden Nature Center. It's right off of 12th Street, so a little north from 25th Street. It's it's a 152-acre nature preserve, which is pretty spectacular for as real estate agents and development and housing.
Yeah.
This is in a prime location to be mowed down and put up condominiums.
Right. Exactly.
So it's a real treasure. My daughter spent a lot of time growing up. She's 12 now, but over the years she's participated in summer programs, school, field trips, overnighters, camping out there. There's a lot of ponds, tons of birds. As a certified bird nerd, it's a lot of fun to go out there and talk about birds to other people who immediately scurry away and have nothing to do with you, and then you find out it's your family.
What is the scientific term? Is it ornithologist?
Yes, if you're in the science of it, but I don't have time for that. In fact, look at that. You got a barn owl right there staring at you on the screen.
Yeah, there's some eagles there. There's a bald eagle, right?
Well, they do have some captured animals. So they do have a little rehabilitation center over there. They give great tours, walking trails.
And there's always deer. You see tons of deer, and yeah.
Deer. What are those good for? I'm kidding. I love the deer. They're in my front yard constantly. So Ogden Nature Center is worth a visit. It's a fun place, especially for the kids. There's so many activities going on out there. It's you got to check out the Ogden Nature Center.
For sure.
All right. Okay. BJ, Farmers Market.
Yeah, going back to 25th Street, every Saturday, I think it's May through September, they close down 25th Street to vehicle traffic, and the street is just chock full of a farmer's market. And we go quite often in the summer, and there's all kinds of food items that you can buy, delicious food items, lots of great ethnic food. And there's other things, too, like I got my wedding ring at the farmer's market.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, so my original wedding ring, surprise, doesn't quite fit like it used to.
I didn't realize you could get a wedding ring made out of baling twine.
It was, I'm telling you what, this was titanium, okay? But then I actually, a few months later, while spending time up at Pineview Reservoir in the Ogden Valley, went to toss a old skipping stone, and that ring came right off, and now some carp has it in its belly.
How many skips?
You're asking the real questions. 4.
Not bad. Not bad.
But it really is a lot of fun, and it's kind of cool just to be able to walk around the street and all kinds of options, lots of fresh vegetables, flowers. It's just a lot of fun.
So I do need to thank the Ogden Farmers Market, because every year my wife is intent on gardening. Now, your unit cost per pound, when all is said and done, for those 5 tomatoes and 1,000 zucchinis you get, is through the roof. It doesn't make any sense. But how much can you get the produce for down at the farmer's market? it's so cheap.
It's cheap, yeah.
And they did all the work, and it's way better than
Uh-huh.
anything you could have imagined.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean we've gotten out of gardening. Well, I have. I've retired. So, but the farmers market, like I said, on 25th Street, what a vibe. I mean, it really is fun.
It's fun, yeah. Just pop in for a couple hours on a Saturday and take in some sunshine and look at some cool stuff, and you'll be feeling great.
Yeah. I wanted to step back really quick for those that aren't too familiar with what we're talking about. And we might do a bigger dive on this, but I've got up Google Maps for Ogden. So real quick, everybody knows Salt Lake City, and we're about 40 minutes, depending on traffic, north. Right here, there you see Ogden. So as we were just talking just a minute ago, here's Snow Basin, then Nordic Valley, and then there's Powder Mountain over here. So this is known as Ogden Valley. And then you've got downtown Ogden right here. I'm going to zoom in right down here. And then 25th Street is right through here. So this is where all the action is happening right downtown. Just to give you a little bit of an idea.
Yeah.
So, okay, on to the next thing here. I wanted to pick out Peary's Egyptian Theater. Now, where did it go? Because I wanted to get the...
Going back to the map real quick, I think that is one great thing about Ogden. When you do compare it to Salt Lake, for example, like to get from downtown Ogden to a ski resort can happen in 15 minutes.
Right.
You can't do that in Salt Lake. It's more like a half hour.
Sure.
And if the canyons are crowded, it can be even worse. So that's one other nice benefit. Everything's pretty close.
It is. It's so easy to get around here. Now, Peary's Egyptian Theater, it's all Egyptian themed.
Uh-huh.
Do you know who Peary is? Little Ogden trivia.
Tell me, because I should know.
So Peary was a very famous /
This
infamous
is the Perry Hotel, and
mayor of Ogden.
that's right.
He was kind of a wild guy. But as you can see here on their website, I mean, it's an 800-seat classic movie theater, but also they do performances as well. So you can see here they've got ballets, concerts. They do a lot of old or well-known movies. I mean, they're playing Pirates of the Caribbean at the end of, over Memorial Day.
Oh, cool.
The Mummy, which would be a good fit to see
At the Egyptian
at
Theater?
the Egyptian,
Is-
is May 3rd.
There's an Egyptian theater in Park City too. Is it also a Perry's Egyptian Theater?
You're going to poke holes in my knowledge of Utah history. There is some relation to
There's
it,
gotta be,
but
right?
I don't exactly know what the correlation is.
Yeah.
Here's a little. You could jump into some of these pictures here, but this is the exterior of the theater. Now, I remember when I was in high school. I graduated high school in 1995.
Uh-huh.
The Egyptian theater was on the verge of destruction there, and they were doing a lot of fundraising to restore it and save it, and it worked, and it's such an important part of downtown. It's right there on Washington Boulevard, right through the heart of the city. You've got to check this place out. It is so neat. They've got starlight built into the ceiling as the lights darken.
Uh-huh.
They've got all these tiny little lights that sparkle like the night sky. Beautiful artwork. The last time I was in there, I went and saw a Warren Miller ski movie premiere.
Oh yeah.
And that was a lot of fun. So, yeah, this isn't the type of place. Oh my goodness, we got a Shrek character in there. That was scary. This isn't the type of place you would expect when you come to Ogden, Utah, out in the West. But here it is. So glad to have it.
Fun.
All right. Now, BJ, talk about the Ogden Trail System.
Well, one other great thing about living along the Wasatch Front, right, is we're very close to the mountains. Ogden being, no exception. We're from downtown Ogden to get yourself on a hiking trail. You're maybe 7 minutes, right? If you're driving up to the 27th Street trailhead or 29th Street, you're going to be there in less than 10 minutes. And a lot of these trails all connect and tie into the Bonneville Shoreline Trail. There's easy hikes. There's difficult hikes. There's quick, mile and a half hikes. You can take a, 5 or 10 mile hike. There's all kinds of options up on the trails. Some of the fun ones too that we like to go to are up by the college, up by Weber State, and they even have like a parkour course off the trail where someone like me who likes
If
to
you
get
don't
into
invite me
parkour-
the next time you're parkouring, I need to see this.
It's fun. It's fun. I mean, I really don't participate.
Tuck and roll,
Yes, exactly. Tuck and roll all the way down the mountain.
fall and splat.
I
I don't think BJ's figured out parkour.
just rolling.
Well, as you can, and I've got up here on the map right there behind Weber State University, these green dots. This is just a small glimpse of what these trails are. Funny story. Had been told, my brother-in-law and I years ago up above South Ogden had been told that there's a trail from the Ogden side up to Snow Basin. The type of vegetation above Ogden, it's rainforest. I was blown away. I had no idea growing up here. So yeah, if you follow, I don't even remember what our trailhead is. The Buse Canyon trailhead, Fern Valley. Yeah, you ain't kidding. I felt like we needed machetes.
That's a really difficult hike. That's one of the most difficult.
Oh, and it was. We did not get to Snow Basin. We would later find out. Now, mind you, this was years ago. I didn't have a GPS, a phone to show me exactly where I was. But I had a GPS device, which later, after looking at, there's our F-35s.
We're under attack.
They don't visit us over here in Ogden too often. That we were not far from the trail that we needed to get up to Snow Basin, but it beat us down.
By that point,
It beat us down.
Yeah, that one has a big elevation. I mean, some of those trails, you start out kind of at the foot of the mountains where you're like 4,700 feet elevation. You can get up above 9,000 if you take that trail all the way to its conclusion. But a lot of good options. There's also just off of 12th Street near the top as you're about to enter Ogden Canyon, you have the Rainbow Garden restaurant where you can get yourself some Mormon muffins. And there's actually a really fun just little trail system right there off the parking lot. You can hike around in. You can go over to the dinosaur park, walk the trails along that river as well. So
is that the Bird Song Trail? I've got the Rainbow Trailhead right here. It is a fun and easy one.
Yeah, it's just a little jaunt, and if you're just looking for a quick hike, you get outside for an hour. It's great. There's also the park right below there that has. I'm trying to remember the name of it now. But there's a lot of cool hikes just right there around the park, right below it.
They have a walkway right by the
have
river.
That walkway and the plants. I kind of like this because all the trees are like labeled what kind of tree it is, and it's fun to walk around.
Yeah, park's right there. It's easy. It meets all skill levels. So convenient.
Right.
In a lot of our East Bench neighborhoods throughout Ogden, you just walk out your front door, boom, trail.
Yeah,
and you're off and
it is interesting because they're right from the neighborhoods. Yeah, you can someone living there can just literally walk up the street and be on a trail. So yeah, a lot of great outdoor activities. Right here in Ogden.
I gotta find it real quick. My family and I went on a hike a little while ago. And I'm the guy that just says, "Oh, it's just not much farther. It's not much farther. We're almost there. We're almost there." And we were underprepared and almost killed them off. But we went up and saw the waterfall up above Ogden, not in the canyon, but there's there's another waterfall. It's escaping me right now, and I'm making people dizzy just scrolling through here. Is that it? Anyways, there's so many options. Waterfall Canyon. Duh.
That Waterfall Canyon is a cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of a tricky little hike.
It really is. It's got some good inclines to it. You really want to do it in the middle of the day in the summertime. Just ask my family. They loved it.
It's so good. But it's a big. It's like pretty tall, couple 100 feet. The waterfall.
In fact,
And
let's see if we can
don't
pull
climb on the waterfall.
Did you try and dive off of it? And,
No, but people die there all the time. So not all the time, but it happens.
in fact, I've got a picture of the waterfall right here. It is it's pretty impressive. You wouldn't think there was a waterfall like that up above.
Yeah, it's like it's barely a mile, I think. It's just over a mile hike.
Yeah. So these are just a few options of things that you can do here in Ogden. There's going to be so much more we can talk about. It's really the outdoorsman's paradise. It's very convenient. We do have nightlife. It's fun.
Yeah,
It's a good place to live.
it is.
Anyways, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.